So the obvious question, and this may come as a bit of a surprise to a lot of marketers, but why do you think there's a problem with focusing on pipeline?
I think when you focus on pipeline, you focus only on one part of the journey, only seeing a small part of what your customer or your prospects are doing. And it has teams, both sales and marketing, playing a numbers games. And in many cases, there's very little focus on what they're doing as a team together. And, they might have, sales and marketing might have developed their ICP, but they're really all over the place when it comes to prospecting and nurturing. And they're chasing after the deals. I mean, I see this all the time. Sales is chasing after deals no matter the actual size. So they're spending just as much time on those smaller deals as they would be on the larger deals. And the lack of focus, it hurts everyone, especially revenue. And they're kind of playing this game it's popular in the US. I'm not sure if everyone is familiar with it in your listenership, but it's called Capture the Flag. And you're kind of all over the place or all over the field trying to get that flag from the other team. And it's really no rhyme or reason behind the motions. And it's all over the place. But, one of the examples I want to talk about is before we started working with one of our newer clients, their facilities management company, they would target accounts or any account within their ICP. And the deal sizes could be very small, anywhere from 12K to 25K. But they would spend all their resources and time on them to get them into the pipeline, even though this particular organization had really aggressive sales goal. Their leadership wants to become a $1 billion market cap company by 2030. So what do we have now? 7 years? And right now they're only at 130 million. So that's really aggressive target. And by focusing on companies that are going to have nominal impact on the business, it's not helping them drive their greater revenue goals, but they were still focused on the pipeline. They were only focused on that beginning of the journey. And they were focused even on getting first-time appointments. And these first-time appointments were with people that were at the manager, or in their case, facility manager level, instead of focusing on the bigger picture and the VPs of ops, maybe the COOs or the CFOs, depending on the target, where they were only getting 1 to 2 or even 3 facility deals, where if they had focused on the bigger picture, they could have gotten regional and national deals, and those would significantly increase the deal size. And by focusing on the pipeline, our eyes are not on the end goal, which to me, sales and marketing should both be focusing on the end goal of revenue. And another example that I had was a conversational AI firm that has about $500,000 deal sizes a year. They came to us, they were using ABM, they were building a pipeline, having a great time of that, and was very successful. But what they were really challenged with was accounts going dark, especially after initial sales engagement. And when we dug a little deeper and we looked at what was going on, we saw that the content they have didn't really influence the internal conversations that were happening when sales wasn't in the room, when marketing wasn't available. There's no content and messaging or stories on how they were going to align with their specific target accounts, where they are now as a business and where they're looking to go in the future. And they also didn't talk about account-specific or competitor-specific gaps and impacts. And apparently this is an issue with a lot of AI companies I've been talking to, because I had another example where they were talking at large companies for pretty big deal sizes with MasterCard and even Walmart, but they were other large brands, and they were in conversations for about 14 months and they were no closer to getting a deal. And this particular company, when I spoke to leadership, said, we just need more closers. And that might be the case, but it looked to me that sales and marketing should really be focusing and winning as one team. And they didn't have that marketing focus of thinking about the entire journey and revenue. They were really, again, only focused on pipeline.
And when you talk about pipeline, are you talking about the total pipeline, i.e. everything from an MQL right the way through to sort of close one?
Yes, most companies, when I speak to them, they do focus, particularly marketing, on the top of the funnel. So they might focus a little bit on stage progression, but so much focus is on that top that it's almost like as the funnel progresses, like if you were thinking about it from top to bottom, their input or their focus shrinks as well, if that makes sense. When it should be that they put more focus when they're closer to the deal, because that means that they're going to be closer to the win. Like it shouldn't be all or nothing.
So almost you're describing that you've got the marketing team, which are kind of creating the MQLs, and then sales taking over and actually then trying to close that without necessarily having the marketing support. But the two departments almost focusing on different targets, i.e. marketing are focusing on an MQL, sales are focusing on a revenue, and it isn't sort of joined up in terms of the sort of whole process throughout that whole journey.
Correct. And I think that's that old marketing hands off the baton, let's say, to sales, as opposed to being a handshake where we work together from beginning to end. And what are we going to do as a team? We're not just sales, we're not just marketing, we're the organization as a team. How are we going to help that account progress, and how are we going to eventually close that deal together, not just sales doing it alone?
And why do you think that happens then? Why do you think these companies are actually having almost two separate focuses for those two go-to-market teams then?
I almost think it's that they're speaking a different languages. I think marketing is so caught up in lead gen and demand gen and MQLs, and sales is obviously all about revenue. It's what I see that is happening. They're focusing on these arbitrary numbers when they need to focus on revenue and look at the fundamentals of revenue and where gaps lie. You want to uncover what are the business revenue issues that are impacting, stage progression. Why are we having such a challenge with that? Or if it's sales cycle time, what's going on underneath? You have to do that deep dive to figure out how you can impact anything that's related to revenue. So like I said, stage progression, how can we improve that? Sales cycle time, win rates, deal sizes, anything that's attributable to ARR, GRR, or NRR. It's that sales is speaking one language and marketing speaking another, and we need to both get on the same page of revenue. And how we get closer to it.
Yeah. And I hear that sort of leadership teams or founders or whoever it might be, sort of, running the business overall, their view is we just need more pipeline. Or as you mentioned, we just need more closers. We need people who can close those deals better. When actually those two fixes may help a little bit, but they're not going to fundamentally change things.
Yeah, they might be like a Band-Aid, a temporary fix, but they're not going to fix the entire issue that's underneath of, okay, why are we having this challenge? What's actually causing it? Is it marketing's not supporting? Are we all not on the same page? You really have to dive deep, but it's a lot of work. But once you get it, the reward and the benefit, it's potentially very large.